Very disappointing. They have the other. Oh, you don't answer. Teachers tell me never done. They're never done. Always
No, I just they'd be like, wait, can we turn that half off again? That was nice. Yeah. Wait, but Ezra might need to rehab. No, she did care, she just wasn't.
I don't know. The board secretary needs to be able to record.
You can see. Ezra might need to read this.
Yeah.
He can see. Man, we gotta hold his feet to the fire his first meeting, jeez.
I'm not particular about the lighting.
See? Exactly. That's good. I'm not.
Welcome. What's your name? Ed? Ezra.
Ezra.
Welcome. Pleasure to have you here.
Right? It's getting really bad, actually. And then we were talking about how school board licenses are over there. Just
Why?
your pal.
Yes.
Every time. And then I know they're going to but I can go passwords. So what's my mind? That password probably like. Apparently she did not make password. So once you figure that out, I'll have to tell Ronnie. So there's not blackberry. But it's like, it's not sweet. It's kind of like hard. So it's like you adjust it all the time. No. So I actually juxtaposition. They were so out of date. Like I remember hearing it. It's definitely good. And I was like, and then I spent all year trying to change it. But every time my it was like no. And I just every time, as long as I know that. Yeah, I know. That's the only problem.
The regular monthly meeting of September 18th, 2025 is reconvened and called to order at 7:32 p.m. at Thomas Edison School, 37-01 Fairlawn Avenue, Eugene M. Banta Public Meeting Room, Room 19, Fairlawn, New Jersey. There are 8 members of the public in attendance. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Baldowski.
Here.
Dr. Bertolini.
Present.
Ms. Brown.
Present.
Mr. Earlier. Ms. Fayvelovich.
Present.
Ms. Kasoy.
Present.
Mr. Santana.
Present.
Ms. Yarman.
Present.
Mrs. Mahan.
Present. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with provisions of this Act, the Fairlawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having a date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Herald News. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was originally distributed on January 24th, 2025. Please join me in the flag salute.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to introduce to everyone Ezra Feynman, our 2025-2026 Fairlawn High School Student Representative. Congratulations and welcome to the board. The floor is yours.
There we go. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Ezra Feynman, the Student Government Association Board of Education representative for the year. I'm also the junior class president, and I am excited to present Fairlawn High School's first report of the year. Fairlawn High School is kicking off the year strong, and our clubs are already in full swing. Starting with our class council apparel sale, which is currently underway, and our students are eager to show their school spirit. And I just happen to have with me tonight some order forms if anyone is interested. We have the new and improved Fairlawn High School logo on our new merch for the year. So I have those forms with me. Freshman class elections will take place on October 1st, giving our newest students the opportunity to step into leadership roles. The Student Government Association is also preparing to host their first of many SGA General Assembly meetings on October 6th. This is when our SGA officers and class council presidents give a report to all of our homeroom representatives, who then share announcements with the school community, which ensures clear communication across every grade level. One of the events that will be announced at this meeting is the junior class's upcoming Qdoba Night fundraiser on September 25th. If anyone is craving a burrito, wait until September 25th to make your Qdoba run. Lastly, all our student government activities are preparing for our annual club fair in October, where all students learn about our club offerings and get involved. It is an awesome opportunity for everybody to see all of the clubs that Fairlawn High School has to offer. Looking ahead, SGA is preparing to host our second annual homecoming dance on October 18th. This is a huge event for our student body and brings all the grades together for a fun night. Our theater program has announced an exciting lineup of performances for this year. The Masks, which is our drama club, are currently rehearsing for their fall 2025 production, Ducka Supa Palooza Volume 2, a one-act playfest. The musical for this year has been announced as Chicago High School Edition. And in the spring, the Masks take the stage again with 12 Angry Jurors. We have some Chicago High School musical fans in here. Yeah, seems like. Ticket information for all productions will be posted on the Fairlawn High School website, and they are sure to be great performances. In addition to our activities, FLHS will observe the Week of Respect during the first week of October. This initiative includes activities that encourage kindness, promote respect, and work to reduce bullying and violence within our community. Earlier this month, our students and staff also signed the No Place for Hate pledge, reaffirming our commitment to creating a safe and supportive school environment. That concludes my report. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to sharing all the exciting news from Fairlawn High School with you all this year. Thank you.
Ezra, thank you. If you wouldn't mind just hitting your microphone, you are welcome to stay and participate with us. I don't know what the workload looks like for you these days, but feel free to leave when you see fit.
Yes, I will come pass out the forms now. Just about to say that.
Dr. Dionisio.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I do have a very short report this evening before I turn it over to Mrs. Keller, our Assistant Superintendent of Schools, for the Graduation Pathways Report update this evening. But just very briefly, can't believe that we're 3 weeks into school already. Since September 2nd, our first day for our students. It's been a wonderful 3 weeks. We've had an opportunity to be in all of the buildings. Everybody is back into their established routines, and there's quite a bit of schools in full swing. You know, we have all of the athletics and clubs and activities that are taking place in our schools. So just want to thank our administration, our staff, our teachers, everybody who's made the past several weeks extremely successful and very, very smooth opening. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Keller, who will take us through the Graduation Pathways Report.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Dionisio. So the Graduation Pathways Report is one of our required yearly reports. It summarizes our recent class of 2025 and the various different ways they met their graduation requirements. So we had a total of 426 students graduate this June. The number of students who met their substitute competency test, which would mean that they met it through, say, SAT or PSAT versus NJGPA, we had 28 students for language arts and 65 students for mathematics. The rest of those students met it through their NJGPA requirement. We had no students that graduated due to the portfolio appeals process. We did have 11 students in language arts and 10 students in mathematics receive a state-endorsed high school diploma specified in their IEPs. That would also include students who graduated as seniors, class of 25, but also any students 18 through 21 who also did graduate on that day. We had 2 students that were denied graduation from 12th grade due to state or local requirements, but no students were denied graduation due to any of their assessments or the substitute competency or their portfolio. So everybody did meet the requirements for the assessment as per the state. And that is our report.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Keller. And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
This agenda item provides an opportunity for committee chairs to present brief summaries of proceedings from their most recent committee meetings. These reports are for informational purposes only and reflect activities that have already taken place. This is not an appropriate time to introduce new business items or engage in extended discussion on topics that should be addressed through proper channels. Committee chairs are reminded to keep reports limited to 3 minutes maximum based on the written meeting minutes. Focus only on the key actions and discussions from the most recent meeting. Reference when the next meeting is scheduled. Avoid introducing new business that has not been properly vetted through the committee. Submit any written summary reports to the superintendent and board secretary for inclusion in the minutes. The floor is open. Ms. Brown.
I'm the chair of the Student Services Committee. We met this past week, last week? No, this past week, last week. And, sorry, it's all blended together. Our agenda was very light. We discussed the new cell phone policy that the district is working on creating, and we heard next steps in that process and the outline of what's going to happen. So we're very excited about that. And our next meeting is canceled, and the next meeting we will meet in November. Thank you.
Dr. Bertolini.
Thank you. First of all, as what's your name, Jean? Jean just said, we had to move our October 9th meeting for education because of the candidate forum that evening. So we're moving our meeting to, I believe, October 16th, just if you, October 16th at 7:30, right? Okay, that's for informational purposes. We always have a lengthy meeting for education. Here are some of the topics. First of all, we talked about the Bergen Community College contract, where we currently have numerous students that participated and the board pays for it. And it was a lengthy discussion on whether or not the cost should go to the students or stay under the Board of Education. And what we decided to do from that, we asked Dr. Dionisio to get the administration to compile a list of similar additional programs to see where we spend money and whether or not we should continue providing opportunities for Bergen Community College. That's one. The enrichment programs is on the agenda. We didn't have time to discuss it. It has been moved to the next meeting. There is a host of policies that deal with anti-discrimination, anti-hate, and there's some concern whether or not we need to add another one for anti-Semitism, and where the committee is going to look at over all these policies that we were given a couple days beforehand, and we will decide at the next meeting whether or not we should introduce additional policies regarding to this topic. And let's see. One of our committee members thanked the board for the orientation, and it was also going to look at it, try to maybe adjust it for next year, but certainly at this point, no action has been taken. Future items for discussion is the expansion of Edison into a pre-K4 to help decrease overcrowding at Milnes and Radburn, chain of command. And as Jean said a moment ago, our next meeting will be focused primarily on the cell phone policy that the district is going to put into place. We met until 7:19, right on time. Thank you very much.
This portion of our board meeting is specifically for comments on the resolutions listed in tonight's agenda. When speaking, please state your name and municipality of residence. Specify which resolution you are addressing. Limit your remarks to 3 minutes. State law prohibits board members and administrators from discussing personnel matters, student discipline, or other confidential issues. Please note that this is not a dialogue or Q&A session between speakers and the board. While we may not respond immediately or to every comment made tonight, all input is carefully considered and helps inform our decisions. Responses may come through emails, reports, board statements, website updates, or after the comment period closes. Thank you for your participation in our school's community governance. The floor is open to the public on agenda items only. Is there anything on the Google Doc?
There are no comments on the Google Doc.
The floor is closed. I will now open the floor to board members on agenda items only. Dr. Bertolini.
I just, first of all, want to thank Ms. Keller for the presentation tonight, and I'm most pleased with the third line. Number of students graduated under the portfolio appeals process is 0. I'm not a big fan of the portfolio process, to be honest. So the fact that 0 were needed to graduate, which means our school is doing a great job educating our students, getting them ready for state testing, and doing well. Because again, not only 0 number of students had to go through the portfolio appeals process, which means they couldn't pass it any other way. And then the fact that we only had 2 students out of 428, I guess. No, 6 graduated, plus 2 is 428. I'm looking at the numbers correctly, Ms. Brown? I believe, even though they're small print. So the fact that, I don't know what 2 out of 426 is, percent-wise, but it's certainly a very low percent, so I want to thank our staff, our faculty, our administration, for creating an educational system that really works well. So thank you very much.
Ms. Yerman.
Sorry. The dessert got in the way. Sorry about that. Okay. On item 10, B, C, and D, I have a question regarding Fairlawn residents versus non-residents. And then is it a break-even cost? But also in other towns that we as Fairlawn residents receive from other towns to join their community school, it's always the residents pay less of a rate than non-residents. So I don't see that, I didn't see that as part of that. And I was just wondering whether Fairlawn residents pay the same as non-residents. And although it does concern me that non-residents would be coming into our facilities, but I also was under the impression that it was a break-even on the cost of it, that we weren't making a profit. So maybe it was just an assumption on my part, but I'm just asking. And that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Brown.
So I just wanted to thank Ms. Keller for your presentation. Everything that Ed said, I echo the same. I also wanted to just say how excited I am to see the extracurricular trips that we're approving for all of the students. It looks like many of our students are going to enjoy basic fall activities, which is the best part of being in New Jersey and the best part of being in our district, that we have the ability and the capability of sending so many students on trips at a low cost to our parents, because that's not always possible, even in towns, as close as next door to us. So I just wanted to thank you guys for doing that. And I hope all of the students enjoy their trips.
Ms. Failovich.
So I'm still confused on policy 5842. So we as a district are removing number 3 from the policy, based on the explanation from Strauss Esme, it says it's best, Strauss Esme recommends a district to discuss the situation with their board attorney to determine how the best to address this issue. So my question is, what's going to change? How is removing number 3 going to change the way the district operates? Like, what actually is going to make, how is it, like, if they can give like an example as well, so I understand how that happens. So that's one question I have. The next question, I sound like a broken record, and I totally understand, but 11 sees the bills. We always got the bills non-redacted. Then they were given to the public, which I understand you have to redact for the public, but then it could be put in the executive session, and based on our attorney's legal advice email.
I'm sorry, just to interrupt you. Any discussions between an attorney and the client, so board member and attorney, is privileged, and that should not be discussed in public session.
It's an email, okay. Well, anyways, can we have the bills not redacted and just have it with the students' names in the executive session of the bills, because I can't keep approving bills that I don't know what they're spending on. The next thing is, it seems based on the write-up with the questions, it seems that we do a charge a little bit for the community school. So my question is, why do we do a charge for the residents? What is the rationale behind that? Because I feel like if it's for residents and they pay taxes and they're community members, we should be at cost with them, because it's community school. It belongs to everyone, not just some people. So that's my question. I have another question for the attorney. For 11A, if my child benefits from the gifts, do I have to recuse myself, or do I can vote yes for the PTA gifts? Thank you.
So if it's a gift that's benefiting the entire class, and let's say your child is in that class, you don't have to recuse yourself.
Mr. Santana.
I fully support an anti-Semitism policy, just for the record. 6D, I'm going to abstain, and I'm going to say why. We received a document that has 724 pages. I think all of us have full-time jobs, and I don't think anyone will be able to reasonably read 724 pages in 2 days. So I will abstain from that. 10B, C, and D. I actually evolved in this topic. I used to think with because of the cost, the wear and tear of organizations using our facilities, we should have make some money to offset the cost of the wear and tear, the extra need for cleaning the building and all of that for outside groups using our facilities after school hours. But, I changed my mind. I think we should not make a profit of it. We should charge at cost, and the residents should not pay to use our facilities. But we should charge people who don't live in Fairlawn. So I will be making a motion that the fee be charged to non-residents, and that Fairlawn residents do not pay for these services. We already pay enough taxes. I appreciate the presentation from the administration. However, I am not happy to see that 65 students had to graduate with a substitute competency test process in math. That's double from ELA. Again, I would like to see more resources for math, because I see that that's an area in need of improvement, in my view as a board member, based on the data. Yes, so many students graduated. That's wonderful, but if you're the parent of those 2 students who were denied graduation from the 12th grade class, I'm not happy about that. So I would love for us to meet the needs of all students and have all students be able to graduate and do what needs to be done. I That's it for now.
Ms. Kasoy.
On item 8E, under personnel, I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of the teachers who step up to work with clubs after school. Yes, they do get some compensation, but if you look at the list, it's very, very lengthy. So for all of the students that benefit from all of the teachers who step up to take on the clubs that all of the students are participating in, a huge thank you, because they would not, even though they have these opportunities and they love to do them, if we don't have teacher support to help run these clubs after school in their time that they could be grading papers, doing other things, they wouldn't have these. So thank you very much to all of the teachers, everyone who steps up. It's not that big a compensation, and it's a really big impact to the students. So that's all. Thanks.
Mr. Santana.
Yes, on committee reports, I have a comment. During my first term on the board, prior to when I first started, prior to everyone
Mr. Santana, I'm sorry, that's not considered an agenda item.
commenting on committee reports,
No, we had this
the
conversation.
committee reports are on the agenda. That's an agenda item.
Santana, we had this conversation back in July, and prior council and this council.
I would like an opinion from the board attorney. Committee comments on committee report, that's not permitted. An elected official on the Board of Education cannot make a comment on committee reports. It's an agenda item.
Thank you. So there is a section on the agenda for committee reports. At that part of the meeting, when individuals are relaying the reports, that's really the time to ask questions of what occurred during that committee, that, the report of which is being.
We're not permitted to do that by the board president. We're not permitted to make comments during committee reports. We're not permitted to make, I have tried before, she doesn't let us make questions or comments during committee reports. Are we supposed to?
Well, going forward, there's a section in the meeting that addresses committee reports where members of the board will relay the reports of the committee that they just attended, what happened, and at that point in time, board members can ask questions or seek clarification on that committee report.
Thank you, because the board president have denied board members the ability to ask questions or make comments during committee reports. And you have the videos, you can check.
Thank you so much, Mr. Santana. Dr. Bertolini.
When there's 428 students in our senior class in high school,
Dr. Bertolini, I'm going to ask you to address any comment to me or the superintendent, not to another trustee.
I was looking at the wall.
Okay, just be careful, please. Thank you.
I'll look at you and look at the wall at the same time. I could do that too, but then I have to bring the microphone. All right, I'm sorry, Julie, let me start over again. Can I get my 3 minutes back? I'm not going to use them all, but I want them back anyway. So we have 428 students in our senior class, and only 2 not graduate because they're failing courses. I'm assuming that's the reason why they didn't graduate. That's not a negative, that's a positive. I mean, students fail. Some of us are teachers, some of us are parents, some of us are both, and we expect our children to do the work. If they don't do the work, they don't pass. And if they don't do the work and they don't pass, they don't graduate. But to have 426 out of 428 students graduate, that's a celebration. Thank you.
Ms. Favalovich.
So my question is, so 15% of the students, based on my calculation, the 65 students, with 10 is about 18%. So what happened to the other 2%? Because based on the presentation that was given to us a month ago or 2 months ago, 20% of the students failed the math state test for New Jersey GPA. Does that make sense? No, I just want to make sure you understand my question, that's all. So my question is, based on the presentation last month or the previous month, 20% of our students failed the New Jersey GPA. 21 actually percent. It was 79 passed, so 21 failed. Based on that, you only shows 18%. What happens to the other 3%? I just want to make sure you understand my question.
So we'll take all of the questions,
Okay.
and then we'll respond to all of them. Is there another question
Yes.
in there?
Yes, so my other question is, I still am not sure, I wanted to ask the attorney, how can I make a motion? When we vote or when we are actually talking right now? Can I have a clarification?
What's the purpose of the motion?
Something on the agenda,
But what's the purpose of the motion?
to change something on the agenda.
So when that item gets raised to the floor, you know, when you raise, like, you have a first, you have a second, at that point, the motion is on the floor. Everyone has the opportunity to discuss. If there's a motion that pertains to that agenda item, you can make the motion at that time.
Perfect, thank you so much.
No problem.
Floor is closed.
I'm going to just respond kind of globally to some of the comments or questions that were made from the board. I will defer to Ms. Beatty regarding the questions on the community school to the extent that she has responses available tonight. If she does not, then she will follow up with the business office in the community school in order to be able to provide that to the board. And then I will turn it over as well to Ms. Keller to speak to the graduation pathways. As it relates to the community school, though, my advisement to the board is, and you've heard me say this before, is not motions on the floor without proper planning and preparation to run a almost $150 million organization that impacts 6,000 students and 1,200 employees. So, and that goes for anything, especially even the community school. So there are some good comments and questions from the floor, but what I would recommend is that we refer it back to the appropriate committee for the appropriate discussion, because any decision would impact the budget. It would also impact all of the staffing within the community school and all of the programs. So in order to do it and do it the right way, I think that's probably the best course of action. That's my recommendation as a superintendent. I'll leave that to the board to decide how you'd like to proceed.
Point of clarification, what committee would that be?
It would be the Finance and the Facilities Committee. And then as it relates to board policy, there was a question from a board member on board policy, if I could, 5842, thank you, which is 12B. And that was related to a specific clause that is noted under, just pulling it up if you give me 1 second. So that clause is related to a case from the Supreme Court in 2022, Kennedy versus Bremerton School District. And number 3 is being, that provision is being deleted. That states no agent or employee of the district will promote, lead, or participate in the meeting from our student organization policy. So that means that a staff member could be present to supervise one of these activities, but they would actually not be actively involved in relation to actually being a proponent, because they're acting in the capacity as a teacher, not as a personal individual. So their role as a teacher has to be strictly to their role as an employee of the district and not related to whatever specific activity there is there. So they don't have the same rights and liberties that as an employee in the district that our students would have based on those organizations. I'll refer it over to our board attorney to be able to add anything additional if there's anything clarifying.
I keep forgetting I have to switch that back on. Essentially, in removing that, it allows some flexibility for the club advisor to determine in which activities, right, it would be a little bit more permissible to participate, but there are some topics, perhaps religious-led organizations. The Equal Access Act is also based on religious organizations too. So wanted to make sure that there's no entanglement with the school, right? That no student feels coerced to participate, and that you're not utilizing staff, let's say, to coerce or force people to participate in something that really should be voluntary, so that they, maintain their rights to exercise or not. But that case does allow a staff member, provided that they don't coerce, they can participate in some of those activities.
Point of clarification, we did put that clause into our policy or not?
So this revision is being recommended by Strauss Esme, and that's pretty common. Laws change. Courts come up with different rulings and interpretations of laws. As a result, it impacts certain policies you have in place. So at the time that this was promulgated, or you published it, the law was different. The law said, staff members, you really shouldn't touch this at all. We don't want any participation. And now they're giving a little bit more flexibility, saying you can participate a little, but it has to be clear that you're not coercing students, right? That it has to be deemed voluntary. A student can look at a staff member participating and cannot get the impression that that staff member is really the one that's leading the group. That staff member is there checking attendance, making the students are engaging in appropriate behavior, not violating code of conduct, but they're not serving as an agent of the board or the district, or serving as some sort of person of influence, right? As an authoritarian person, teachers are individuals of authority in school, so that students don't feel like they're, coerced or felt like pressured into any particular activity. So it's, they can participate, but with limitations, and this is just because the law has changed. So when it was passed, it was also in accordance with the law at the time. Now you're revising it to update it.
I understand, but we just removed that number 3. We did not add any other language. My question is, by removing that and not adding other language, are we saying?
You don't need to replace it with anything.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And then I am going to first turn it over to Ms. Beatty to the extent that she has any answers to the community school questions.
Thank you. So the community school is self-sustaining, so the fees do cover the cost of the program the fees that we pay to the vendors to provide these programs for our community. There are administrative costs related to running the community school. We do have 3 staff members that work in the community school. We also have staff in our business office that make sure that the payments go to the vendors in a timely fashion. So the very small amount that we collect as an administrative fee does cover those costs.
I will also add to that there are, at times, unintended costs or unbudgeted costs out of the community school for before care and after care based on student needs that may correlate with the student's educational or physical needs within the school, unanticipated requirements for school nurses during the course of the school year, exorbitant costs, and especially if we have to go with an outside provider. So there are a lot of variables that come into the mix as to why the costs are broken up and established the way they are. But to the extent that there are other questions specifically, we could certainly bring that back to committee and answer those questions for the board.
Point of information, the costs that you stated, the administrative costs, that's included in the fee, right? Because it's at cost. The fee that the parents that are using the service pay, you already include the cost to operate the program, plus a profit. Am I right or wrong?
Actually, before we answer that, I'm just going to ask our legal counsel to just give us a little bit of support on moving forward with the best way to handle the back and forth commentary and how to utilize some of the statements based out of Robert's rules.
Yes. So if there's any, right now we're in a response portion of the meeting where the superintendent, through permission of the board president, is responding to the board comments on the agenda items. So if there are any additional questions, the member must request permission from the board president to speak, right, as the presiding officer. If that is granted, then the comment may be relayed. Also, being that the comment portion really is over, this is more of just the information sharing. So if there's any additional questions, the president could also just recommend that you contact the superintendent or relay any other questions, whether it's via email or through the committee process as well, just to keep the business of the board moving.
Robert's Rules of Order, there's no point of information anymore allowed on the board?
So there is, you just need to be, we moved forward with a new legal counsel who is giving us updated legal advice, and the legal advice is now stating that you guys have to be noticed by the administration and/or leadership prior to asking a question. But our legal counsel is advising that we not continue to have it back and forth, and that we redirect some of those questions either to our superintendent via email or in conversation, so that we can continue with the business of the board, which is our agenda items.
So how do we get to notice? How
So
do we
if
get to you?
I'm going to give you an example. So before, Ms. Nevelovich, you had said point of information. I'm going to turn to you and say, I'm acknowledging you. And then you can ask your question, and then it'll be determined. However, our legal counsel is stating that we shouldn't be having further questions after the superintendent has provided information, that there's another avenue for us to do that. That way, we are expediting this process, and we are focused on agenda items.
Can I say something, Board President? Can I say something? Why do we need to expedite everything? Why do we need to have a rush meeting? I don't feel comfortable as an elected official to expedite and rush everything. I feel like I'm being silenced, and democracy, it's elected officials who were voted by the public to be able to speak. And I don't feel comfortable with that. I feel that my constitutional rights, my First Amendment rights as an American citizen and as an elected official is being violated right now. We all due respect with the board council, okay? Board members have freedom of speech, okay? And if we want to use Robert's rules to ask a point of information, and the board president, with all due respect, wants to rush the meeting. I don't feel comfortable rushing the meeting when the taxpayers are being told to pay more money so the district can make a profit. I feel this is immoral.
Okay, so I'm going to answer your question. The parliamentary procedures, you have a presiding officer, and that is your board president. And your board president runs your meeting, and you are running your meeting in accordance with the order and the agenda that's been published. The agenda sets forth certain periods of time when members of the public can speak, when members of the board can speak, when you have discussions. There's a board member comment period that just passed, and board members were able to give their comments on the agenda, ask questions of the superintendent. The board president just explained that if there's follow-up questions, a board member would just ask, point of order, I have a question, excuse me, and they would see whether or not that question should warrant a response, or if that's a response that maybe the superintendent or the board president can provide that member at another time, or if that board member can get it through another avenue, such as a committee. There's other opportunities within this meeting, too, where a board member can comment. So, for instance, as I had mentioned before, when a motion is being brought to the table, you have your first, you have your second, that opens up the floor for further discussion on the particular items in which you're going to take action. That's another opportunity for board members to make comments before they take that action. So there are plenty of opportunities for board members to relay their comments, but the board does have to follow the order of the meeting that's also in your bylaws, and you do have a presiding order that does, the presiding officer that does take commands of the meeting to make sure that it is efficient, and that your business is getting done. And that is the point of the meeting, and there's no absolute First Amendment right. As a board member, you're here to serve the public and to adhere to the bylaws, too, that are put in place. This is not an opportunity to, give your opinion or to just free speak. You are conducting business as a board member, and you're doing that within a particular, I would say, model or template.
Point of clarification, can I be recognized, please? So my problem is when we have questions and we have something to follow up, we are voting, and if we are not sure about something, having clarification to make sure that we really understand before we vote is important to us. So by saying we are never allowed, once we say, like for example, we're voting for number 4, we are never allowed to say anything else. I've been here on the board for 5 years. And first and the second, and that's it. We vote. We are never allowed to say anything. Now you're saying we are allowed to, can we have some rules written down? Because now everything has, for the past 5 years, everything has changed
So
within one meeting.
This is why we're getting this clarification from legal counsel because they are new legal counsel to us, and they are giving us different guidance and advice. So as we are getting it in real time, I'm providing it to you.
So we're gonna have comments, if we want, like, you say 6A, and you say first, so move second, and now we can say, I have a question, and then we can answer that?
So we just had board member comments on agenda items. So that's when if we would like to have a policy discussion about that we can certainly do that in our committees. But right now, I'm sorry, tell me your last name again. Ms. Febres is stating is that you had asked her clarifying question about when you can do a motion. That's when you can do a motion. And that actually is what our legal counsel at our July meeting stated as well.
I think I'm maybe misunderstanding me. So for example, you answer my question and I have a follow-up and I'm voting. Because I'm voting, I want to make sure I'm clear before I make, and following through committee doesn't work because voting already occurred. So that's already kind of useless for that. So on the agenda items, if we have clarifying questions that we are not exactly sure, or if somebody doesn't understand our question, how we formulate, because that happens.
Exactly as you just did. You asked to be recognized and I recognized you.
And then we can ask the question.
As long as it's within the purview of directly affecting the agenda item, yes.
Okay, so if it's clarifying question on the agenda item, we can ask by saying clarification, point of clarification, correct?
Yes, as long as you are recognized by the chair.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Keller.
Wasn't working. All right, so the information that I just shared is for the class of 2025. The presentation in July or August, don't quote me which one, was for the class of 2026. So there's going to be some variabilities. In that time, you have kids that move in, kids that leave, so that can account for a fluctuation. But the numbers are going to be different. This class is significantly larger than that class of data that the current class that I also presented on. So there are some differences in how it would be, but when you account for the number of kids who met NJGPA, did a substitute competency, all their IEPs, it all adds up to the number that it needs to.
We good? Okay. Can I get a motion for 4A?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Badowski.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Elia.
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich.
Yes.
Ms. Kasoy.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Yes.
And Ms. Yerman.
Yes.
And Mrs. Mahan.
Abstain.
Motion passes.
Can I get a motion for 7A through E?
So moved.
Second.
6.
We don't do.
I apologize. 6B and C.
So moved. I mean,
And D.
so moved.
6, right?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Badowski.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Elia.
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich.
Can you come back to me, please?
Ms. Kasoy.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Abstain on 6B as in boy. Abstain on 6D as in day.
Ms. Sherman.
Abstain on 6A. Nope, sorry, 6B and 6D. And yes on everything else.
And Mrs. Mahan.
I need to abstain. Nope, I'm good. Yes.
Okay, and Ms. Favolovich.
Abstain on 6B and 6D as in dog.
Okay, motion passes.
Can I get a motion for 7A through E?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Badowski.
Abstain on 7A14. Yes on everything else.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Elia.
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich.
I would like to abstain, I want to abstain on 7A23 and vote on 7A16 no.
7A16
Mhm.
is no,
Yes.
and everything else is yes? Ms. Kasoy,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Pass me, please.
Ms. Sherman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I get a motion for 8?
So moved.
Second.
Can I get a motion for 8A through I?
Oh, sorry.
Now go ahead.
So moved.
Mr. Baldowski,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Elia,
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich,
No on 8D3.
8D3.
Mhm.
Okay, everything else yes?
Yes.
Ms. Kasoy,
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Abstain on AD3.
Eight-
Yes,
8D3?
8D as in day, 3,
Okay.
abstain.
Okay.
Yes on the rest.
Okay. Mrs. Sherman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
motion passes.
Can I get a motion for 9A through C?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Baldowski,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Elia,
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich,
Yes.
Ms. Kasoy,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
Yes.
Ms. Sherman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan,
Yes.
motion passes.
Can I get a motion for 10B through D?
So moved.
Point of order. I have a motion.
So as soon as we have a motion and then it's open, you can then do your point of order. I just need to get the motion and then call the roll.
Noted.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
No,
Now you can do it. Mr. Santana.
I would like to make a motion for 10B, C, and D, not charge Fairlawn residents the profit portion of the fee and charge that fee to non-residents instead. Is it clear?
Motion to not charge Fairlawn residents and to charge the profit to the non-residents of Fairlawn.
Motion to charge Fairlawn residents at cost and to charge non-Fairlawn residents the cost plus the profit amount.
Second.
The floor is open for discussion. Ms. Kasoy.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So we want to increase the cost to the non-resident to cover the additional, to cover that profit percentage that we were charging. So we're going to increase, so if there's, let's say, $2 out of every 10 that is considered a profit portion, so we want to increase the non-residents to $12 and charge $8 to the residents? Is that, am I understanding that correctly? Is that what's on the?
Am I permitted to respond since I made the motion? Madam President, am I permitted to respond since I made the motion? Thank you. I appreciate this new process, which is way better. We're going to charge, the district is going to charge the same thing they plan to charge. The only difference is the Fairlawn residents are not going to have to pay the profit portion of the fee. So let's say it's $110, but $10 of those 110 are to make a profit. Well, we're not going to make the profit of the person who lives here breaking their back to pay their taxes. We charge that $10 extra to the non-resident as a sign of respect for the taxpayer of Fairlawn who was breaking their back to pay the taxes.
So to clarify, for 10B, The vendor gets $200, the tuition is $240. You want to charge the Fair Lawn residents $200, and you want to charge non-Fair Lawn residents $240.
Correct. It's fair. It's a cost. Well, I'm just responding to what you said. I will speak in favor of it when I get my turn.
Dr. Bertolini.
My only question is the number of Fair Lawn residents that are part, say, of approval of Chef It Up compared to the non-residents, and then if we do charge more for the non-residents, does it make up for the loss of revenue? I don't know right now. I couldn't vote on it right now, because if there are 100 people that are Fair Lawn residents that go to approval of Chef It Up, and there's only 2 non-residents, there's no way we're gonna make that money up, and we're gonna be in a deficit. So I don't disagree with you, Wilkin. However, I'm sorry, Julie, I don't disagree with him, because I'm supposed to talk to you. But I'm concerned that we're gonna go into the red, because there's many more, I don't know the answer. There are many more Fair Lawn residents than non-Fair Lawn residents. And if we only have 1 non-Fair Lawn resident, that person's not gonna pay $2,000 to go to approve of Chef It Up. So that's my concern. What's the breakdown between residents of Fair Lawn and non-residents for each of these groups?
Can I address, since he mentioned my name, can I address his concern?
This is not a back and forth, it's just comments. Ms. Favalovich.
Ms. Brown was before me.
Ms. Brown.
I might have the same questions or concerns as Ed, I'm not really sure. So one of my questions was, where does the profit go? Who does it benefit? And because if it's benefiting the students and the school district, then I'm concerned about what the ripple effect would that be. I'm uncomfortable voting on this without knowing how many non-residents versus residents are on average signing up for these events. And my concern is also with Ed, if we're offering, or Mr. Bertolini, if we're offering the, doctor, sorry, that was my fault, I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. My concern would be the same, that we're going into the red, and then we're gonna have to cancel these community events if we're not making the money that we need to pay for these events.
Ms. Favalovich.
I think it's a nice way to give back to our community. A lot of parents, spend a lot of money for before care and after care, and they want their children to go to different things. And some adults want to do something fun. And I think it's everyone's facilities. It's not only a particular group in our community. And by saying you still have to pay a profit, like there's some districts, I'm not going to say the names of the district, but they do. Residents pay one price and non-residents pay another price. I think it's everyone's facilities in town. Everybody pays. Either you rent, you still pay because the landlord pays your taxes, or you will. And 65% of our taxes, if you live in Fair Lawn, go to the schools. And I think we need to give back to a community. And maybe it's $40 there, $40, but this economy and with everything going high, I feel like it would be a nice gesture on our part to do that to the residents, and only the residents of Fair Lawn. So I'm in fully support of this motion.
Mr. Santana.
Look, the person speaking right now was against what I just proposed several years ago, okay? The economy is not good right now, okay? I know a lot of people in town who have lost their jobs in the private sector, okay? We have a lot of people that come from New York and get home at 8 p.m. There's people paying almost $20,000 in taxes. We don't have programs in our district depending on out-of-town residents. That's factually not true. I don't need central office to tell me that if out-of-towners stop coming here, the programs are going to go bankrupt, because that's not true. All right? The out-of-towners are not paying for all these programs. And even if they were, our facilities are paid for by the taxpayers of Fair Lawn. So the taxpayers of Fair Lawn are number one. Well, actually, the students are number one, okay? But we have, I don't think it's morally sound to charge a profit to people who are paying the salaries of the people that work here. If you have to send that to committee, or if you plan to vote no on this, I caution you not to do that, because that would not be the right choice. I think you will vote yes because you will put your right hand on your heart and you will tell the taxpayer, we're not going to charge you profit because we are the Board of Education. We're not the business of education. We're not a corporation. We're not a corporation. We are in the business of education, educating children. And if we go by the logic of going red, that one board member stated, we're not a business. We're not a business. We pay for certain students, we pay $100,000 tuition. We pay a lot of money for tuition. We pay a lot of money. But it's because we're educating the whole child. But to tell a homeowner, taxpayer, to pay, in addition to the fee, to pay us a profit, when all we need is at cost, why would you vote no against this? Why would you vote no? If the person who was against it changed, you could also evolve. Join the side of friendliness towards the taxpayer and vote yes
I'm just
on
going
the
to
motion.
remind everyone to address their comments to the board president and ensure that their comments are limited to the substance of why the motion is being put forward and asking any information that might be necessary to further understand the motion and to be able to vote in an informed way on the motion.
Ms. Yerman.
I agree with the motion presented. I never thought that the community school was meant to be a for-profit entity. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Ms. Kasoy, just because you didn't get to comment and you only asked a clarifying question, I will let you speak now. But in the future, when we have motions on the floor, everyone only gets one turn.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I wanted to ask another question. And I am in support of this idea. I just feel like we don't have complete information. I don't personally have complete information to make an educated decision. I don't want to vote no on something that's a great idea. I don't want to vote yes on something that has a ripple effect that I don't understand what that is, that will create further consequences. If we table this for till the next meeting, what are the consequences of that? Is there a program that won't start? I just don't know the timing of this. If we abstain or what, that's what I'm trying to understand. Thank you.
So another motion would be have to put on the floor to table. That being said, when a motion fails, someone from the side that voted against the motion, right? So let's say you voted no on a motion, and then you decide that you'd like to discuss the motion further. Someone from the side that essentially prevailed, which would be if you're asking if it doesn't go through tonight, can reopen the motion. Does that make sense? Okay.
Call the question.
If I can give an alternative too. So alternatively, let's say this. Oh, but I can just give you a scenario. So if you call the question, now you're going to vote on it, right? If it fails, what's going to happen is the original motion is going to be what you're going to vote on. If that passes, then that's the rates it's going to go through. You can always refer this again to committee, and this can come back on the agenda. So it doesn't mean the conversation ends today.
So Ms. Beatty, can you please reread the motion on the floor? And then I will note what the voting is, and then I'll call the roll.
Motion is to revise 10B, C, and D to charge Fair Lawn residents at cost and charge non-Fair Lawn residents the cost plus the profit.
So when we call the roll, you are either voting yes for the motion to move forward, voting no if you do not want the motion to move forward, and the motion fails.
Yes. The motion is for 10B, C, and D to charge Fair Lawn residents at cost and charge non-Fair Lawn residents the cost plus the profit.
Point of clarification or information.
Yes.
Okay. If we decide to do this, this is a contract, right? We're approving a contract. Okay. If we decide to do this and we don't make enough money to fulfill the contract, then what happens to the program?
Call of question was made, so we can't ask any more questions.
She's actually right. Sorry.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Baldowski,
No.
Dr. Bertolini,
Based on the fact that we do not know the ramifications, no.
Ms. Brown,
No.
Mr. Elia,
No.
Ms. Favela-Vich,
Yes.
Ms. Kasoy,
No, just for lack of information.
Mr. Santana,
Yes, for compassion for the taxpayers.
Ms. Yerman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
No.
Motion fails.
Would this be the
Can I
time
make a
to make a
motion?
motion to?
No.
No?
Point of order. That's incorrect.
So what happens?
Mr. Santana, you have to be acknowledged. I will acknowledge you the same way I've acknowledged every single other person.
So right now, since the motion failed, the default motion, or the motion that was on the agenda originally, is the motion now that you would vote on.
Roll call.
Excuse me. Point of information. May I address the chair? May I address the chair? Yes. May I speak?
What is it in reference to?
Once the motion fails and we go back to the regular item, it is my understanding, and the board attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, that any member can submit a new motion on that particular item. For that particular item, any motion for that particular item.
So, for instance, to redo the motion? 'Cause that's
Not
already
that
happened.
motion, any other motion.
So another motion that's within the agenda?
Yes.
Within this?
For
that's
that
before
item.
the floor.
Yes.
So between, what is this, 10
10B.
B, C, D?
Yes.
Depends on what it is, yes.
Anything that is second on that item.
Such as,
Let's say,
do you have a motion that you're willing to bring forward? on
no,
this?
I'm
Or is this
addressing what
just-
she's saying. She wanted to know if she could make a motion to table the item.
Okay, so yes. So if there could be a secondary motion to table this to another meeting, yes.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry. What?
Ms. Yerman. Because Ms. Yerman had her, hold on a second. I would just like to clarify, everyone, that these programs start this month. Just so we're clear, you can check that catalog on the website if you have a question. If someone would like to make a subsequent motion, you must make the motion now.
I would like to make a motion to get more information, and that can it be via email so that the board?
What kind of motion is that?
What
what
make
motion
a
are you
motion
making?
to table this, what
These-
we just voted
these
on?
We haven't voted yet. The agenda items?
The 10 through, I've lost my, B, C, and D to the next meeting so that we can get some additional information on the motion that just failed with some additional study from the district on information.
Can I get a second? Okay, it fails. No. Guys, we have a motion on the floor. The motion does not have a second, and now the motion fails.
Point of order. Point of order. The motions are not suspended. Any other board member can make any other motion on this item.
Not while there's another motion on the floor.
The motion just
now
ended.
failed.
It ended. Another board member can make another motion. As long as we have democracy.
I don't call on you during these, if you want to make a motion, you have to ask to make a motion. I don't, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to table 10B, C, and D and send it to committee, which I understood.
So I'm going to ask you to hold up. Julie just said that.
No.
Yes, she did. She asked to table it for committee. Okay, continue.
Okay. So table it to go to committee to look at any policies and procedures as it relates to community school policies, to find out whether there's a better way to refocus like other districts in our area for their community schools and how they choose between residents and non-residents. And
Need a second.
that would be through, well, that would be through,
But
you
this is
said
just
it's-
to raise the motion on the line, on the floor, so you said the motion to table it and send it to committee, and we have a second.
so
And now it's going to
policy?
open up for discussion.
Right, but it's for policies, policy committee, did you say? Or it was for
You said
buildings
policy
and
committee.
grounds?
You said you wanted to table it before it to committee. The motion doesn't have to
Okay.
specify which committee, it could
That's
just
fine.
be forwarded to the committee. We have the first, we have the second, and now we can open it up for discussion.
Open for the floor.
As needed.
Mr.
Clarifying
Baldowski.
questions.
We are extremely concerned about making sure these programs are accessible to Fair Lawn residents, correct? And I understand that tonight. We are tabling, the motion is to table 3 contracts which are supposed to begin within the next 2 weeks. That's taken away programs directly from our residents if we were to table this. I agree that we need to review the community school. I think it is an asset that we underutilize. However, it is a sustaining organization within us. And these are contracts with contractors. This is not just us deciding pricing here. So I would advise against tabling these 3 contracts, but would certainly be happy as the chair of finance to add it to the agenda to discuss future contracts for the next season of community school, to review it, because I am doubtful, sitting here tonight, I don't think any board member is able to answer whether we understand the financial impact of any of these motions right now. And to make that motion or to prove that is fiscally irresponsible. Thank you, Madam President.
Dr. Bertolini.
I'll withdraw my motion.
At this point, it's on the floor, so it has to be voted on.
Call the question.
Point of order. I have my hand up to speak.
Hold on. I do not recognize your call to question. Dr. Bertolini.
Thank you. I think Joe's point is to Ms. Mahan, is a valid point. I don't disagree at all that we should be charging our residents no extra. I agree with that. However, the fact that it's starting October 9th, I think is the date, October the 9th, which is before our next board meeting, and because we don't, as Ms. Kasoy said, we don't know the details, and as Mr. Podolsky said, we don't know the cost, Podolsky, Joe, we don't understand the cost and how it's going to impact our budget. We don't want to go in debt $100,000 because of this vote tonight that we're not sure of. So I'm in agreement that we should not charge our residents more, but I think we should either send it to finance or even vote on it tonight that next year, when we budget, no, this is the motion. Wait, I'm going to get there.
You can't make another
I'm not
motion
making a
while
motion,
there's
I'm just
motion on the
talking.
floor.
I'm just talking. And I have 2 minutes and 1 second left according to our lovely lady to my right. And she has the thing. So wait, so can I just finish, please? Cut me off and I got to talk again. My point is I agree with everyone here, actually. I agree with Luca, I agree with Rita, I agree with Lisa, I agree with Joe, and Julie, and maybe even Jean, that we shouldn't be charging extra, but our budget is set right now, and we can't know the financial liability that we're going to put into effect by voting yes for something we don't know the details on. So I will vote no, but I am firmly in favor of making the change for next year and making sure it's in our budget. Thank you.
Mr. Santana?
First of all, I think everybody here, it's pretty financially savvy, okay? The decisions that we need to make does not require a PhD in finance. You don't have to be a professional accountant. You just need compassion, and you need to exercise your compassion that you have and common sense that we already have. I have heard board members here say and brag that we have a robust budget, right? Okay, we have a robust budget, right? There's no financial liability, as the board member stated, when you are making a profit, meaning we're not going belly up, we are charging at cost. So my logic and my reasoning tells me, no, we're not going red if we don't get the profit, okay? Not morally sound, and we already have a robust budget. And then on top of that, you know, a board member said it's not fiscally responsible. Well, I don't think it's fiscally responsible to vote out of a committee 3 programs that charge a profit to the people who are paying the taxes in fair loan. So that's not fiscally responsible. So we can't put the carriage before the horse, okay? The Finance Committee did not show compassion to the taxpayers by putting forward these 3 programs that charges fellow residents a profit. So now it's not fiscally responsible to take that profit away? No. We can't have it both ways. We are either for it or against it. For it or against it. I cannot look at a taxpayer's face tomorrow morning and tell them, we are making a profit out of you. We are the Furlong Board of Education for business and profit. No, we're not for business and profit. We are for learning and education. So, but, you know, my motion was defeated.
Ms. Ivalovich?
So I just wanted to say, I'm for not charging residents, but I'm not also for taking away those programs from the people. So I'm going to vote no just for that, and I want to say call the question.
I recognize the question. Call the roll.
Mr. Baldowski.
No.
Dr. Bertolini.
No.
Brown.
What motion are we voting on right now?
The motion is to table 10B.
So it's the
C, and
tabling
D to
one.
go to committee.
Okay, no.
Mr. Elia.
No.
Ms. Favolovich.
No.
Ms. Kasoy.
No.
Mr. Santana.
Pass me.
Ms. Sherman.
I made the motion. I wanted to withdraw, and I'm going to vote no, just based on the timeliness of this item.
Mrs. Mahan.
No.
Mr. Santana.
No.
Motion fails.
Can I get a roll call on 10B through D?
Mr. Baldowski.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Elia.
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich.
Can you come back to me, please?
Ms. Kasoy.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
Abstain.
Ms. Yerman.
I'll vote, I'm going to abstain.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Favolovich.
I'm going to abstain on BCD.
Motion passes.
Can I get a motion on 11A through K?
So moved.
Roll call.
Mr. Baldowski.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Elia.
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich.
No on 11C.
All others, yes? Ms. Kasoy.
Yes.
Mr. Santana.
No on 11C.
All others.
Yes on the rest.
Ms. Sherman.
No on 11C due to redactions, yes on everything else.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I get a motion for 12B?
So moved.
Roll call.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Elia?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
No on 12B.
Ms. Kasoy?
Yeah.
Mr. Santana?
No on 12B.
Ms. Sherman?
No on 12B.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
This portion of our board meeting is specifically for comments on any matter. When speaking, please state your name and municipality of residence. Limit your remarks to 3 minutes. State law prohibits board members and administrators from discussing personnel matters, student discipline, or other confidential issues. Please note this is not a dialogue or a Q&A session between speakers and the board. While we may not respond immediately to or every comment made tonight, all input is carefully considered and helps inform our decisions. Responses may come through emails, reports, board statements, website updates, or after the comment period closes. Thank you for your participation in our school community's governance. The floor is open to the public. That's correct.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ludmila Koroliva Fairlawn. Good evening, members of the board and members of the public. I'm here tonight as a parent to urgent concerns about systemic failure in this district policies and procedures. These are not minor oversights. They have direct consequences for students' safety, integrity, and community's trust in this board. The role of the Board of Education is to adopt clear policies and ensure that they are implemented consistently. Yet there is a traveling pattern. Policies are followed only when convenient. This leaves the impression that the board is placing itself above very regulations it is trusted to uphold. One very clear example is Regulation 5440. Once again, that regulation is 5440, honoring students' achievements. At present, this regulation is blank, without guidance or safeguards. How many students have been overlooked or denied opportunities for recognition because the board has failed its responsibility to provide direction? A missing regulation is not just a procedural gap. It has real impact on children. Equally concerning are repeated violation of student privacy. According to District Regulation 8330, a parent and guardian must be informed annually of their right to prohibit the release of directory information. Directory information includes student name, photography, personal identifiable details, etc. Yet parents are only provided with an all-access form, which makes no mention of direct information with the right to opt out. These issues are serious, but they are also fixable. I respectfully request 2 concrete actions from this board. 1, that this board directs the administration to create and provide parents with a dedicated directory information opt-out form, fully compliant with Regulation 8330 by the next board meeting, October 30th, 2025. 2, that the Regulation 5440, again, that regulation is 5440, is finalized and placed on the agenda of the next board meeting, October 30th, with clear standards to ensure all students are recognized fairly. By taking these steps, the board can demonstrate that it takes its responsibilities seriously, values parental rights, and is committed to restoring trust within our communities. Policies matter. They must not remain blanked, ignored, or inconsistently applied. Parents must be given the tools to protect their children's privacy. And above all, this board must ensure that every policy is approves its respected, policy is approved and respected and enforced. Our children deserve nothing less than a board that upholds both the spirit and the letter of the law. I urge you to act now. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Dina Malin. I am Maryland resident for 25 years. It's my first time here. Before coming to New Jersey, we lived in New York City. I used to work in New York City school. My mom, back in Ukraine, was a math teacher for many years. So I have a lot of respect for everyone involved in education, teaching, board of education. Education and safety is my priority for our family. And I'd like to point that I'm not prepared the speech, but I like comment made by Dr. Edward Bertolini and Wilkin Santana about including anti-Semitism in teaching anti-hate policies in our schools. So I'd like to ask the board to vote on including Jewish American History Month in our curriculum. It's very important. And this is number one. And number two, when I park in the school, I really like that we have parking lots for, parents to drop off children. I raised a question about safety of drop-off in middle school when I was dropping off my daughter and in the morning, and the car ran over me, almost ran over me. And Mike, cross guard, saw it. He advised me to speak and with.
Nobody could hear you. The members of the public cannot hear a single word that she's saying. I
I'm
apologize.
sorry. Okay, thank you. Yes, so the crossing guard, asked me to call the city because he was almost every day said almost ran over with someone by Russian parents. And when I called the town, I spoke with the traffic control director, and he said that they reviewed the situations, they made comments, and advised Board of Education to remove VP parking lot for school director, for administrative, to widen the driveway and to make the drop-off more secure. I live on Nicholson Drive. I see that this is accident waiting to happen. So I'd like the school to take this seriously, to review it, to speak with the traffic director again, and to do everything possible that middle school has secure drop-off. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving us the time to speak tonight. First, I would like to support what Dina had just mentioned regarding the month of May being
Point of
Pride.
order.
I'm sorry?
The speaker have to state her name.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm
Ms.
Bashana-
Tolchinsky, I apologize. I think we're all familiar with you, but
I'm
please
thank
share
you.
your name.
I'm sorry. I'm Bashana Tolchinsky, Municipalities Fair Lawn. I appreciate the correction. Thank you, Wilkin. I completely agree with what Dina Mallon had said regarding the Jewish American Heritage Month. It's on the DI website. It's one of the months that's officially nationwide recognized. And last year, Ludmila Krylova and myself, Bajana Tolchinsky, we received the proclamation from the town. I know that we had switched the mayor, so I'm not sure where we stand with that now, but I'm aware that it was supposed to be eventually implemented into the curriculum. And I believe that there's a New Jersey Department of Education social studies curriculum that shows how to exactly implement the Jewish American Heritage Month correctly. And the second issue that I would like to speak on, I had been to the TJ Back to School night, and while walking the hallways of TJ, I saw some interesting art that was portrayed as a mural on the wall. While I understand the intention may have been to inspire students with the images and quotes of historical figures, I have serious concerns about the way this was carried out and what message it sends in our current climate. First, these murals create unnecessary division among children. We live in a very diverse community, and in light of the ongoing conflict connected to October 7th, bringing certain figures into our schools in this way risks inflaming tensions rather than uniting students. Schools should be a place where children feel safe and supported, not where they are reminded of world conflicts or divided by political or cultural symbolism. Second, the artistic approach itself is troubling. Painting faces in fragmented colors across the portraits of real people, figures like Malala Yousafzai and Anne Frank can be seen as disrespectful or even desecration of their legacy. These are not fictional characters, they're individuals whose stories deserve dignity and reverence. The presentation as it stands diminishes that. Finally, I would like to know who approved the project, how was the decision made to put these particular murals in our Thomas Jefferson Middle School, and were the parents of the community consulted at any point? Transparency and accountability are essential, especially when it comes to what is displayed on the walls where our children learn every day. I urge the board to review this matter carefully. We need to ensure that the art in our schools uplifts all students equally without introducing division, and that the process for approving such projects involved broader input. I had printed the art in question. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, there's one comment. Marcy Rise, if that's how you say it correctly, one, non-agenda public comment. I'm sorry I could not be there tonight as I'm celebrating my father's 75th birthday. I think overall the social media content is engaging, and I especially enjoyed the principal's personality post. However, in the first few days of school, there was a post that showed the school, grade, and name tags of several young students, and I'm worried this could happen again and jeopardize the safety of our students in town, as it is obvious that the district, obvious what district it is. What steps can be taken to ensure this won't happen again?
That's it. Floor is closed. Oh, if you'd like to go again, welcome to go a second time. Sure, nobody got up, so go ahead.
Good afternoon, Ludmila Koroliva. I just want to address the board. So yesterday I attended a meeting with two board members current sitting board members speaking at a politically affiliated meeting. Julie Kasoy, Ms. Kasoy did not state that she was not speaking on behalf of the board. I was there asked from a community who was ignored by the current candidates, who do not represent them, they don't want to talk to them, to come and listen to what they had to say. After listening to the conversation and what Ms. Kasoy was saying, it appears that she was representing the board. Everything that was representing the board. I've never met Ms. Kasoy, and for her to get up and publicly embarrass me by calling me out was extremely embarrassing.
Excuse me, ma'am, does this have anything to do with board business, board operations? I understand that you're referencing a board member, but what a member's conduct outside of the district and the role as a board member, is this comment related to things that are occurring affecting the district?
This is affecting the district. It's affecting the district as I was publicly called out by the board member.
But was
in
that
a public?
But board members do have personal, private lives, so outside the board, they are,
Have
you know,
to
they can.
use out saying we're not speaking on behalf of the board.
But is this something about the board?
Correct. So when I was at this meeting, Ms. Kasoy appeared as she was representing the 9-member board. At this meeting was public, apparently, my understanding was it was a public meeting. Apparently, it wasn't. I'm not sure what the meeting was, but as a public meeting,
Public board meeting?
it wasn't a public board. It was a public board, I believe as a Democratic Fair Lawn members. I'm
So-
not sure what they were.
Boards of education are non-political.
I agree.
And so board member action happens in the board office or at a board meeting. So board members can attend private events and other events
This
because
was not
they
a private
are,
event.
doesn't matter, they can attend other events, whether it's other public events, but if it's not something that the board is hosting, that the board itself is convening to discuss board matters, this does not appear to be anything that's related to the board or board business.
So you're basically saying that the boards could present the board?
I'm saying that board members have personal lives and they can attend functions outside the Board of Education.
While
and
representing the board.
Attending a function outside of the board does not mean that they are representing the board because they happen to also be a board member.
They would
If you-
have to, per ethic laws, they would have to tell the public, we are here in our personal, not on the board.
And it's
When
not,
Ms. Kasoy was speaking, she was representing what the board is doing and what the board is doing. Not on
may I
top of
ask
that,
what the
Ms.
content of her discussion? Did it have anything to
Ms.
do with
Kas-
board business?
Correct.
It had
How
something
the,
to-
how the board conducts their business and how they work together. That is the board, business. How you work together.
She was discussing board business or she was discussing generally her
Under
personal?
ethic laws, the member of the board has to tell the public that they're
And I'm
speaking on behalf of
Going to clarify that
themselves.
doesn't apply all the time. So if I am a board member, I'm at the supermarket and a member of the public comes
This
up
was
to
not
me,
a supermarket, this was
I'm
a
giving an
publicly.
example. Okay, I'm at Borough Hall,
Mhm.
and I'm at the public meeting there. I happen to be a board member. Somebody comes up to me. I do not have to disclaim that I'm making a comment in my personal capacity and not as a board member, because I can still have a conversation with somebody else. We have to look at what the function of that meeting was and what the statement was. If someone goes on social media and says, I am a board member, and I think that the board should do X, Y, and Z, that is a different story. So unless there is conduct or comments that you're saying that a board member made that actually has something to do with the board. They were talking about board business. They can't just be a board member at a private event. That's what I'm asking. What was the context and the
Ms.
context?
Kasoy is currently running for re-election.
Right.
Is that, I'm not sure if that's something that you know
That's
since
not
you're in your elec-
related to board business.
Correct. As an elected official, she is still on the board. Ms. Kasoy is currently displaying signs without disclosures, so that means the board has paid for her signs. That's a violation. Ms. Kasoy has went into a meeting as a representative of the board and as somebody who is running once again for the board. Not only did Ms. I've never,
So-
once again, Ms.
Here's my
Kasoy has
question.
never met me, so Ms. Kasoy has no business to address me.
So here's my
So
question.
something as a board member and publicly embarrassed
So
me
here's
and
my
called me
question.
out.
Is your comment about Miss Board Member, or is it about the board?
I have no idea because
your-
I am not sure if
Is
Ms.
your
Kasoy,
comment right now,
at this point,
As-
I'm asking the board if Ms. Kasoy was representing the board, and if she was,
The
I
answer is
want to,
no.
would like
Okay,
to know.
then that's a
No,
proper
she was
question.
not representing the board.
Okay, so by Ms. Kasoy not having a disclosures, none of you have a problem that she was
So,
speaking
ma'am,
on your
that's
behalf?
not a matter
At this point in
involving
time,
board business.
as from what I understand,
Mhm.
every single candidate, was invited to speak at the FLDO meeting yesterday. And 6 of the 7 candidates chose to speak. And no one who is currently up for reelection, so no incumbent, was representing the board.
Just to correct you, there was only 4. 5.
Thank you.
So just as a board stance, you are not affiliated with any kind of politically affiliated board?
No.
That's what I want to know. Thank you.
The floor is closed. I'm going to open up the floor to board members. Dr. Bertolini.
I believe there was at least 5 that spoke last night. I'm speaking, what am I talking about? What can I say? I'm going to defend Julie. Can I defend Julie?
I
All right.
would keep it to board business.
This is board business. She was attacked at the board meeting.
That's not.
I'm going to
All right,
ask
so I'm
that
not going to do anything. then.
I'm just
Sorry,
gonna,
Julie.
I'm gonna repeat, the content of what can be discussed in other business. It is anything related to the board that is not an agenda item. However, if you have a comment on the current agenda, item, because it is other business, but it is board related.
Ooh, hold on over there, guys. Let me talk for a moment. Wouldn't it be board-related if it was at a board meeting, a comment? I'm just asking.
Board-related would be, someone came to you with a proposal for a new program and you want to
Yeah, I
relate it to
understand
the
that, but
policy.
if it's at a board meeting and a board member is being criticized, I can't say anything to
No,
defend them?
because you're
Yeah.
using the dais.
Dr. Bertolini,
I'm
I
not going
appreciate your
to.
compassion.
I'm done.
But I'm just. I apologize for speaking over you. I'm just. Okay. Ms. Savelovich.
Okay, so I would like to go back to bylaw 0155. And if you look at paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, paragraph 9, it says committee meetings may be called at any time by the committee chairperson or when a meeting is requested by a majority of the members of the committee. I emailed on September 14, 2025 at 8:05 a.m. asking the chair of the education committee to kindly make a committee meeting this September. Another member of the committee said that's a great idea. And then the chair of the committee said, I received your email. We will attempt to continue to get through the agenda without creating more events for our administrative team. That's not the policy. The policy says if the majority of the board said we want committee members, we want a meeting in September, the chair makes a committee of that. That's the policy. We have to follow policy. I am truly embarrassed by the regulation 5440 that is empty. I'm truly embarrassed. Everything has lines. It just makes me so I am baffled by the idea that we can make a board meeting. In addition, I wrote an email to the chair of the committee, education committee. Did not get a response, even though I kindly asked for one. I'll read my email so that it's clear. Fine. Good morning, and I'm not going to say the chair of the education committee. Please confirm that you received this email. I would like to request that regulation and policy 9130 be added to the agenda for discussion at the upcoming education meeting. Upon review, I noticed a potential discrepancy between the policy and its corresponding regulation regarding the timeline for filing an appeal. Specifically, regulation part 3 states the complainant may, within 3 working days of his or her receipt of the chief school administrative written disposition, submit a written request for a hearing before the board. So 3 days. Okay. Policy part 4 says a reasonable time period not to exceed 5 working days. So the regulation says 4. The regulation says 3. The policy says 5. This inconsistency between the 3-day and 5-day time frame could create a I'll come back.
Any other board members wishing to speak? Ms. Shorman?
Thank you. Thank you. So within the last week, the social media is abuzz for obvious reasons. And the only question that I wanted to ask, based on the comments that were made, is there a Turning Point USA chapter in the high school, or goes by another name? It's just a clarification of whether there's a club, not a club. Is it called something different? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yorman. Mr. Santana?
Yes. Before I forget, I would like to wish all of the students and staff and the faculty a great start of the school year. And also, I would like to wish all of us a happy Hispanic Heritage Month. We celebrate the history, cultures, and contribution of Hispanic and Latino Americans. I am a supporter of two nonprofits, the Jewish Federation and the
Mr. Santana, I just want
I
to
would li-
remind you that as a board member, you really should be careful about endorsing organizations that are outside the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you. I would like to wish the Jewish community all the best as you celebrate the high holidays coming up. I want to caution any board member here who thinks you are above the policy. The parents have to follow the policy. The teachers have to follow the policy. The superintendent and central office must follow the policy. We have to follow the policy. Policy 0155, and I'm going to quote, it states, committee meetings may be called at any time by the committee chairperson or when a meeting is requested by the majority of the members of the committee. A board member here and I requested a meeting to the chair of the education committee, and it was denied to have another meeting. And I would like to, I'm not going to single the board member by name, okay, out of respect, but I just would like, please follow the policy. None of us are above the policy. Until we change the policy, you have to follow the policy. If the majority of the members of the committee want to have additional meeting, you cannot say no. You are violating the policy. You have to follow the policy. Please follow the policy, okay? And out of respect, I am not mentioning the name of the person, but please, we are not above the policy. We have to follow the law. And not following policy is actually an ethics violation, okay? I want to say something. I was never invited when I was running for the board the last time. I was never invited to that debate. I never received an invitation. Why didn't I receive an invitation? I want to know why didn't I receive an invitation and other people were invited. So I want to caution the board. We have an ethics code that states I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests and partisan political groups, or to use the school for personal gain or for the gain of friends. I respect the political parties. I am a member of one. I used to be a member of another one. But I would like them to stay away from the Board of Education. We are nonpartisan. We are apolitical. Please, you have a governor race. You have a commissioner race. You have a council race. You have a state assembly. Please take care of that. Leave the Board of Education alone. We are nonpartisan. We're apolitical. Stop trying to mingle into Board of Education business by wanting to interview current or potential candidates. Partisan politics do not belong on the board. And by them keep inviting and keep talking to our candidates and our board members, it leaves an impression that we are not.
I'm sorry, Mr. Santana. Again, I don't know if this is related to board business.
The code of ethics is related to board business. I'll wait to go a second time.
Mr. Baldowski.
Thank you. Simply wanted to correct the record that I abstained 7A16, not 14. I apologize with that. Just wanted to make sure to get that in before the meeting ended there. I also wanted to highlight, I know throughout our agenda items we were talking about the community school. I want to clarify for the community and make it extremely clear that the community school is a nonprofit community enterprise. So the word profit was thrown around quite a bit in our discussions, but it is completely a nonprofit enterprise that we sponsor and administer, and operates at zero tax impact, at no expense to the taxpayers, because it is completely self-sustaining. So those programs that they run, the prices they decide, it's all among themselves. So it has no impact on us. Our number one priority as a board is the education of our students. Being able to help the community school and those programs as well is another facet, but our number one priority is the students in our schools here. And then I also just wanted to highlight Ezra, our new student rep, the forms that he provided. I know we talked about this previously, and I will refer to finance, so I'll email myself there, of having some sort of online like order form rather than sending a check with this piece of paper in. So you can't do it online right now. The link simply shows pictures of the apparel, but you can't order online. So I know we've talked about that in the past, but we'll refer that to finance just so that we can talk about that a bit more. And that is all I have. Thank you.
You didn't recognize me. You usually say Ms. Faivelovich.
Sorry, Ms. Fivelovich.
Just following the rules. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is Regulation 0155. Again, our bylaws. The policy committee of the whole is still one of the committees. If you look at that was a regulation. That was the first in the regulation. The first thing they list is the policy of the whole. Okay, then you go to the policy and you look at the last paragraph, and it says the following committee shall meet no less than 2 times per year. That means we have to, by our bylaws, meet twice a year. Okay, that's good. Education, the whole education, small finance, buildings and grounds, special education, personnel, and policy. We have never met this year. We have never met last year. We're failing our bylaws. I'm asking the chair of the policy whole committee when is going to be the next 2 meetings so that we will follow the policy that we currently have. When are they scheduled? The next thing is, I'm going to talk about policy, Regulation 9130. I believe in fairness. I believe that this policy, in my personal opinion, as much as I understand, I'm not a lawyer, it's a way for people, instead of going to litigation, they can go up the chain of command and say their grievances, whatever their grievances, versus going outside and costing the district lots of money with attorney fee. Okay. The third level says, if the matter cannot be resolved at the second level, the complainant may, within 3 working days. So the complainant, the parent or the resident, has only 3 working days to respond, while the school has 10 days to respond. How is that fair? So if we go in a court system and we say a defendant has 3 days to look at discovery, while plaintiff has 10 days to look at discovery, do we consider that fair as a board? The next thing I have a complaint about is when they say will be, once the person receives it, how do we determine how it will be received? Is it by email? How do we know that the person did not look at their email for 3 or 4 days? So I have a lot of problems with this policy. I emailed the chair, didn't get a response back that they received it. Today, during committee reports, the chair did not even acknowledge that this will be on the upcoming meeting. I respectfully ask, I'm making it unpublic, so there's no way that there's a confusion, that the policy 9130 and the regulation be at the next committee meeting, and regulation 5440 also be added immediately to the education committee. Thank you.
Mr. Santana.
Again, like I was saying, the Code of Ethics in regards to political activities and independent judgment, it states, I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups or to use the school.
Mr. Santana, so if you are insinuating or claiming that there's been an ethics violation, that is not a board matter, that is a personal, private matter.
No, that's not what my comment is referring to. I'm trying to make a point. Can I reclaim my time? Thank you. When we had my former mentor, Mr. Banta, one thing he told me was, we keep the Board of Education nonpartisan, okay? I wanted to have meetings in the municipal building, right, in the borough hall, to save money and all of that. And he always said to me, Wilkin, no, we wanna be non-political. That building over there is very political. We want to be non-political. I don't understand why there are so many political parties interested in interviewing board members and candidates. We have a
Mr. Santana, again, I'm not sure how this relates to board business.
okay, the board business is because obviously, as stated by a member of the public, it confuses people
That was
about.
already discussed, that did not pertain to board business.
Okay. We have stated something else stated by a member of the public, that there's a regulation that that has blank spaces. I think, and based on what the board member stated, we are in violation of policy. We're supposed to have 2 meetings per year, policy of the whole committee, and we haven't had now one. We have one. Okay, we're still in violation. So we have to see ourselves with a critical eye. We all have things to improve. I have things to improve, board member. I'm not a perfect board member. But I think what we need to do is work together as a team to have policy of a whole committee meetings. And whoever cannot make it, cannot make it. And whoever needs to be early, needs to be early. But we are not following our own policies. And we have policies that are outdated. Like, we have members that are not aware of policies. Maybe they were not aware that if the majority of the members said that we need to have a meeting, we need to have a meeting. So if you don't like what the policy said, then we change it. But we can't change it if we don't have meetings. So we have a paradox. We don't want to have enough meetings. We don't want to have longer meetings. We don't want to have too many topics. But we don't want people talking too much. So we can't have it both ways. And I think this board needs change. We need change. We need to change the mindset. We need to change the mindset. I would love for the board leadership, before we leave, okay, to ask us when we want to have a policy of a whole committee. Otherwise, we're in violation of board policy, and that is an ethics violation.
The floor is closed. Do you have Dr. Bertolini? Dr. Bertolini. Whew, I know.
There is not.
April 27th, 2025, we had a board retreat and policy of the whole committee. We did try to engage in July and August for an additional board retreat and policy of the whole. We were not able to get a rep due to the vacancy. However, we did try for dates in September and October. We could not come to a common date. And when I asked if people would consider a meeting without a common date, only two of the 9 trustees wanted to move forward. We will be having a policy of the whole to ensure that we are not violating the policy, because we still have 3 months left, so we are not in violation of our policy at this point in time. Either late November or December prior to the end of the school year. Our regular monthly meeting of October 30th does denote a deviation from the 4th Thursday of the month. It will be at 7:30 p.m. here at Edison School in the Eugene M. Banta Public Meeting Room, room 19. November 30th, 2025 is our regular monthly meeting for November, also denoting a deviation from the 4th Thursday of the month. Here in Edison School, Eugene M. Banta Public Meeting Room, room 19 in Edison School. And lastly, December 18th, 2025 is our regular monthly meeting for December. It's a deviation from the 4th Thursday of the month here at Edison School, the Eugene M. Banta Public Meeting Room, room 19 at 7:30 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening.